This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Monday, October 13th, 2025. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
President Trump visits the Middle East as hostages are set to be returned to Israel. I'm John Stolnis in Washington.
JD Vance is warning of deeper cuts to the federal workforce the longer the government shutdown goes on. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Millions of people up and down the East Coast getting hit with a nor'easter.
If you're here, you're stuck.
I'm Julie Walker.
A deadly shooting at a homecoming alumni after party in South Carolina. I'm Clayton Neville.
On Wall Street, it's open, even though it's Columbus Day. Stocks are coming off an ugly sell-off last Friday.
Changes at the top in the Big Easy. A new mayor for New Orleans.
The president of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology says she cannot support a proposal to adopt President Trump's priorities. Ed Donahue, Washington.
All ahead on America in the Morning. President Trump in the Middle East as the ceasefire agreed to by Israel and Hamas is underway, with hope a larger peace plan will be implemented soon. John Stolnis has more from Washington on the president's journey with stops in Israel and Egypt today.
This is a very special event. There are 500,000 people yesterday and today in Israel, and also the Muslim and Arab countries are all cheering. Everybody's cheering at one time. That's never happened before.
The president speaking to reporters before boarding Air Force One in rainy Washington yesterday. Trump now in Israel as they prepare to receive 48 hostages, some dead and some alive, from Hamas. In return, Israel will release about 2,000 Palestinians seized from Gaza during the war, about 200 of them currently in Israeli prisons. Speaking on board Air Force One, Trump declared another foreign policy victory as his administration helped craft a 20-point plan aimed at ending the fighting in Gaza for good.
This will be my 8th war that I've solved. And I hear there's a war now going between Pakistan and Afghanistan. I said, I'll have to wait till I get back. I'm doing another one because I'm good at solving wars. I'm good at making peace. And it's an honor to do it. I saved millions of lives.
Israel says they believe there are about 20 hostages still alive who will be returned today. After this stage, Trump's plan calls for the international community, including Arab states, to contribute to temporary housing of some former Gaza residents as they rebuild an area largely destroyed by 2 years of intense fighting. Vice President JD Vance on NBC's Meet the Press says U.S. troops will not be on the ground.
We're not planning to put boots on the ground. What we already have is a U.S. Central Command. We already have people in that region of the world. They're going to monitor the terms of the ceasefire. They're going to monitor, ensure the humanitarian aid is flowing.
Speaking on CBS News, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton praised the Trump team for their work in crafting this peace plan.
It's a really significant first step, and I really commend President Trump and his administration, as well as Arab leaders in the region, for making the commitment to the 20-point plan and seeing a path forward for what's often called the day after.
The release of the hostages is just the first step. Phase 2 remains trickier, including Israeli demands for Hamas to disarm and Hamas's demand for Israel to pull all troops out of Gaza. John Stolnis, Washington.
The White House is warning of more government worker firings during the shutdown unless Democrats agree to end the stalemate. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports that as the furloughs increase, Vice President JD Vance says the government will move around money to make sure the military gets their paychecks and some food programs continue. Audio courtesy Fox News Sunday Morning Futures.
Schumer and the Democrats shut down the government because they were trying to force us to give health care benefits to illegal aliens. And now that we're in this shutdown, we're trying to figure out how to ensure that as many Americans receive essential services as possible.
Vice President JD Vance is warning of deeper cuts to the federal workforce the longer the government shutdown goes on.
We went 9 days before announcing any significant layoffs. Again, the President of the United States wanted to reopen the government. He was trying to work with Democrats in order to make that happen. But the longer this goes on, the deeper the cuts are going to be. And Maria, to be clear, some of these cuts are going to be painful. This is not a situation that we relish. This is not something that we're looking forward to, but the Democrats have dealt us a pretty difficult set of cards. We're trying to do the best that we can with the shutdown situation that Chuck Schumer has left us.
Vance warned the new cuts would be painful, even as he said the Trump administration is working to ensure that the military would be paid and some services would be preserved for low-income Americans, including food assistance.
Well, the Democrats have given us a choice between giving low-income women their food benefits and paying our troops on the one hand, and on the other hand, paying federal bureaucrats. Well, given that choice, we're going to choose low-income women. We're going to choose our troops. That is the choice the Democrats have given us. I would really appreciate if they gave us a different choice. The country would be better off for it.
Hundreds of thousands of workers have been furloughed in recent days. In a court filing on Friday, the White House said well over 4,000 employees would soon be fired.
Wouldn't it be great if the Democrats just opened up the government so that we did not have to make these very difficult decisions?
I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Weekend mass shooting in South Carolina. When America in the Morning continues after these messages. There's plenty of rain today along the East Coast. You're with America in the Morning and the Monday Outlook with AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Yes, a large portion of the West faces active conditions today as moisture associated with Raymond continues to support showers and some areas of thunderstorms in the Southwest, centered on the Four Corners region, and flash flooding remains possible there, along with some downpours as the day wears on. The storm brings down enough cold air to support snow for some of the higher peaks of the Sierra Nevada, and feet of snow are expected through tomorrow above 7,500 feet of elevation. In the Northwest, there may also be some snow around the Cascades, with showers near the Pacific Northwest coastline. Elsewhere, a tropical wind and rainstorm will continue to funnel rain into much of the Northeast through today, with conditions gradually easing into tonight. Strong onshore winds from the Jersey Shore through New England are expected to lead to coastal erosion and major flooding, especially at high tide, with winds peaking in the 40 to 60 mile per hour range. The highest gusts around the Jersey Shore look to be early in the day, but places like Cape Cod and eastern Long Island face an extended period of that intense wind. For many, this is still needed rain after dry stretches over parts of the summer, but localized street and highway flooding will result as well. Ahead of a cold front, high temperatures in the Midwest are expected to be 10 to 20 degrees above historical averages into Tuesday. Parts of the plains are expected to remain warm as well. Kansas City should warm up into midweek and may reach the mid-80s on Wednesday, possibly staying in the 80s for highs into the weekend. But behind the front, temperatures do gradually crash closer to the historical average for the middle of October. In Miami, today looks to be sunny to at times partly cloudy with a high of 87. For Chicago, it's looking warm as well despite limited sunshine with a high of 74 today. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
You can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. Up and down the East Coast from the Carolinas to Massachusetts, there are concerns along the shoreline of drenching rain, flooding, high winds, and power outages due to a storm that doesn't have a name. Correspondent Julie Walker reports.
Millions of people up and down the East Coast getting hit with a nor'easter that's forecast to blow through the area through Monday evening with wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour in some places and rainfall from 1 to 4 inches in areas. National Weather Service lead forecaster Bob Oravec.
The greatest effects are going to be the coastal flooding potential, especially for areas from northeastern North Carolina northward to much of the New Jersey coast.
New Jersey under a state of emergency, weather-related warnings and watches out, up, and down the coast. In North Carolina's Outer Banks, part of the one road in and out is shut down where resident Danny Couch is.
If you're here, you're stuck.
He also fears for one of the famous Buxton houses on stilts sitting in the water.
This house will not survive this.
I'm Julie Walker.
A high school homecoming alumni party in South Carolina over the weekend became the scene of a mass shooting that left at least 4 people dead and 16 others injured. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
The bar was the site of a homecoming alumni after party where shots were fired around 1 o'clock in the morning Sunday.
It was that time when you kind of hit the height of, the nightlife, so about an hour for closing. Everybody wants to get in and get their last drink or, make their last, acquaintances. So, yeah, about one.
The bar's owner, Willie Terrell, told WJCL-TV that he was inside the bar when the shots were fired outside.
I could tell you from inside, I could hear what sound like, machine gun fire, and I could see the swarm of people, coming in, and, things happen so fast, just bodies on the ground, people just trying to duck for cover.
No arrests have been announced in the case to this point, but the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office says that it is investigating a person of interest in the killings. I'm Clayton Neville.
Pullback in the market Friday means buying opportunities for investors on Tuesday when America in the Morning continues after these messages. This is America in the Morning, and time for the Monday Business Report. Here's CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning, even though it's Columbus Day. Stocks are trading after an ugly sell-off last Friday. President Trump posted that China's getting hostile over rare earth minerals and negotiations, and he hinted at even higher tariffs on Chinese goods, and that sent stocks plunging. The Dow fell 800 points. Some investors tell CNBC the pullback was expected, and it's a buying opportunity for this morning. Not every investor is worried.
This is just a needed correction, something we've been waiting for. Sentiment's been extreme, talks of bubbles, and analogs to 1999. This is healthy. We're in this window where you'd expect it in October. That's how we're approaching it as of now, as a healthy pullback.
314 Research co-founder Warren Pies on CNBC. Here's New Edge Wealth's Rob Sechin on CNBC.
I think the sharp reaction to this news shows how price for perfection markets have become and how subject to a little bad news they could be.
And here's Hightower's Stephanie Link on CNBC.
We're looking for opportunities to be buying. Earnings are going to be very good. And the good news is on Tuesday, we start to get earnings. You're looking for opportunities that speaks to people wanting to buy the dip. And I think that they will, and I think they should.
As the White House says it's starting to fire federal workers amid the shutdown, investors could get the latest on inflation next week, even with a shutdown. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says it's recalled some staff to get the September Consumer Price Index report ready. It's scheduled to be out Wednesday. Amazon's early holiday Prime Day sale may have been a little bit of a bust.
Amazon kicking off the holiday shopping season with its Prime Big Deal Days, but some shoppers questioning how valuable the bargains really were. The Washington Post says some items actually increased in price compared to the week before, and others that were marketed as discounted hadn't actually changed in price at all.
CNBC's Leslie Picker. Consumer sentiment still at its lowest since last May.
Here's University of Michigan sentiment, 55.0 on headline, very close sequentially to the 55.1 in the rearview mirror. You'd have to go back to May of this year to find a lower number.
CNBC's Rick Santelli. One thing consumers are saving on is gas. Oil dipped below $60 a barrel for the first time since May. AAA says gas prices have fallen 10 cents a gallon over the past month. This is as of last Friday, to a national average of $3.10 per gallon for regular, and that could drop even lower. On today's watch list, it is Columbus Day. The bond market is closed while stocks are trading in the U.S. Some banks are closed today. It's also Canadian Thanksgiving Day. Canada's financial markets are closed today.
All right, CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. New mayor for New Orleans, Republican senator in an uphill re-election battle. Those stories when America in the Morning continues after these messages. New Orleans will have a new mayor after voters in the Big Easy elected Helena Moreno, a Democrat who becomes the second woman in history to take over the city's top position. Moreno, who had an unsuccessful bid for Congress in 2008, has spent the last 8 years on the New Orleans City Council. The city has hit a lot of headwinds in the past 6 years, starting with the coronavirus pandemic that shifted tourism, followed by Hurricane Ida that caused severe flooding that led to a statewide property insurance crisis, and the 2025 New Year's Day terror attack that killed 14 people. Moreno will assume leadership of New Orleans in January. Republican Susan Collins of Maine with a new re-election battle on her hands as she runs again for the Senate. Correspondent Ed Donahue reports on a potential new challenger for the Maine senator who's no stranger in the Pine Tree State.
Sources tell the AP Maine Governor Janet Mills will run for Susan Collins' Senate seat next year. Mills is a Democrat and is the top party choice to challenge the Republican Collins. Mills gained national attention in February during a White House meeting of governors when President Trump talked about denying states federal funding over transgender rights.
I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well,
Mills spoke up.
Are you not going to comply with it? We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't.
Her response?
Every state. Good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one.
Susan Collins has won all of her 4 re-election campaigns by double digits, except for 2020. She defeated Susan Gideon by fewer than 8 percentage points. Maine oyster farmer Graham Plattner is among the Democrats already in the race. I'm Ed Donahue.
America in the Morning for Monday, October 13th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour, President Trump travels to Israel and Egypt as the Gaza ceasefire stays in effect. The latest on that massive Tennessee explosion, falling gas prices, and the passing of an Oscar-winning actress.
While National Guard members aren't allowed in some American cities, they are on the ground in others. I'm Clayton Neville.
More tariff tension between the U.S. and China, or maybe not. I'm Richard Johnson.
The president of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology says she cannot support a proposal to adopt President Trump's priorities. Ed Donahue, Washington.
G20 Financial Stability Board eyeing AI. I'm tech correspondent Chuck Palm.
Back after these messages. America in the Morning continues. Perhaps the Columbus holiday will limit the number of commuters in the east, where heavy rains continue. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
A potent tropical wind and rainstorm off the east coast continues to have significant impacts for today, with the combination of strong wind and heavy rain posing the risk to take down more trees and even some power lines over parts of the mid-Atlantic and the northeast. Major coastal flooding may result as persistent onshore wind continues in this area, and the interaction between this zone of low pressure and strong high pressure over Atlantic Canada means intense wind will continue for a time today. Gusts of 40 to 60 miles per hour continue from the Jersey Shore north and east through the lower Hudson Valley, especially early in the day, also including all of southern New England and even far southern Vermont and New Hampshire, along with some rain, heavy at times with the risk for flooding, but the strongest gusts gradually decline in the mid-Atlantic as the storm evolves, and even in New England, the core of rain and wind shrink, especially by tonight. Elsewhere, a storm swinging through California is expected to bring rain from Oregon into northern portions of California, thunder around the San Francisco Bay Area. Heavy mountain snow is forecast in the Sierra Nevada of California as snow levels drop to around 6,000 feet by tonight, and in particular, Donner Pass on Interstate 80 could receive 6 to 10 inches of snow. Leftover tropical moisture from Raymond should continue to fuel some showers and thunderstorms in the southwest that could still produce flash flooding, but a rather large expanse of the United States from the northern Rockies through the upper Midwest, much of the Great Lakes region, and a large chunk of the southeastern U.S. should be mainly dry today with some sunshine around. Even much of the interior northeast to the north and west of the storm faces improving conditions overall through the day. That's the weather across America. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
You can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. An historic day in the Middle East where President Trump started his morning in Tel Aviv and met with families of the Israeli hostages returning home after just over 2 years of being held captive, and to Jerusalem, where he will speak to Israel's governing body in the Knesset. The president will then head to Egypt, where he'll attend the peace ceremony and co-chair with Egypt's president the Gaza summit. Correspondent Sam Mednick reports from Tel Aviv.
Preparations here are underway for the release of the hostages.
Your courage and endurance inspired the world, and it was your belief, joined with the bold leadership of my friend and President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, that made this peace possible.
People here are assembling Israeli and American flags as they wait for the hostages to come back. A lot of people credit U.S. President Donald Trump and the U.S. with pushing this deal through. Here in Hostages Square, you could hear people chanting, "Thank you, Trump." And there's this palpable energy of hope that people say they finally have. Now, we're expecting about 20 hostages who are believed to be alive to come out on Monday, and then the bodies of 28 others.
One of the things we learned is to look to the long run. We know that the pictures of hugging and that we're all looking for in the first day, they're really touching pictures, and it's a very, very important day and part of coming back and rehabilitation. But we know that it's a long run.
President Trump to come to Israel Monday, and then he's expected to go to Egypt. There are also going to be the release of 2,000 Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails. It's unclear exactly when that will be. Now, Palestinians in Gaza have been heading to their homes since the ceasefire went into effect, but they are heading home to rubble and destruction. Many say they don't even know where their houses are. The UN has surged aid to ease the dire humanitarian crisis, but there are still a lot of questions about what happens after the first phase of this deal goes through.
Correspondent Sam Mednick. The political tension surrounding President Trump's deployment of National Guard troops to crack down on crime in some Democrat-led cities continues into another week. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
The Trump administration's deployment of National Guard troops to Portland and Chicago are on hold as the legal process plays out following lawsuits, but Guard members are on the ground in Memphis because the governor of Tennessee hasn't intervened. Guard members were seen near the Mississippi River patrolling over the weekend. Democrats like Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, though, have pointed to falling crime numbers in Chicago and accused the president of going after his political opponents.
This administration, led by a 34-time convicted felon, is threatening to jail people that are their political opponents.
Governor Pritzker told ABC's This Week that he's not afraid.
The fact that he's made a threat against me, I'm not afraid. I'm going to stand up for the people of my state. And we've got to all stand together because there is truly unconstitutional actions that are coming out of this administration.
There's been talk that President Trump could implement the Insurrection Act in response to political violence recently. That measure allows the president to use the military to restore order during times of civil unrest. Well, Vice President JD Vance said that the administration is considering that move.
ICE agents, the people who are enforcing our immigration laws, have faced a 1,000% increase in violent attacks against them. We have people right now who are going out there, who are doing the job the president asked them to do, who are enforcing our immigration laws. They're being assaulted, they're being beaten, they're being shot at.
The vice president told NBC's Meet the Press that the problem isn't whether or not the president should use the Insurrection Act.
The problem is the fact that the entire media in this country, cheered on by a few far-left lunatics, have made it okay to tee off on American law enforcement. Yeah. We cannot accept that in the United States of America.
As the week begins, there are reports that National Guard members could be deployed to San Francisco in the future. In a comment that turned some heads, tech billionaire Mark Benioff said that he's all for that. His company Salesforce has donated big bucks to left-wing causes in the past. I'm Clayton Neville.
Wall Street is open today, and stocks are poised to shake off the massive losses incurred on Friday following yet another round of tariff tensions between the U.S. and China. Correspondent Rich Johnson has details.
The closing bell brought Friday's trading on the New York Stock Exchange to an end after a brutal day Brought on by China announcing more restrictions on the export of rare earth minerals. President Trump then quickly countered with the threat of another 100% tariff on everything coming from China into the U.S.
I think it's become very clear to everybody that this power grab by the Chinese won't be tolerated.
U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer with a tougher talk on Fox News that was then blunted by the president.
I have a great relationship with President Xi. He's a very tough man. He's a very smart man. He's a great leader for their country.
The president spoke on Air Force One heading to Egypt, saying the eventual solution this time may indeed be another tariff.
Then we met him with something much tougher than what he did to us. Again, because of the tariffs, it's much tougher.
China's new restrictions on rare earth exports are set to take effect in about 6 weeks. Economist and journalist Najma Mihas of the Pakistani financial site Global Village Space says the calendar may provide an out for everyone.
There is a month between Trump's November the 1st start date for tariffs that he said just now and December the 1st, which is the date that Beijing has set for new controls on rare earth exports. The staggered deadlines potentially provides for an off-ramp for both sides to de-escalate tensions before these punitive measures are enacted.
But perhaps not before more tough words. China's Commerce Ministry said in a statement Sunday, "We do not want to fight, but we are not afraid to fight." I'm Richard Johnson.
When we return on America in the Morning, searching for answers in an explosion of a munitions factory in Tennessee. When America in the Morning continues after these messages. Tennessee's Governor Bill Lee met with the families of the victims of the blast at a small-town explosive factory where the local sheriff confirmed there were no survivors. Correspondent Julie Walker reports on the 16 people lost in an instant.
The blast at a Tennessee explosives plant Friday so massive it leveled the building, leaving virtually nothing in its wake. Humphreys County Sheriff Chris Davis.
As we get into this, we find it even more devastating than what we thought initially.
Fighting back tears, saying no one was recovered.
We can assume that they are deceased at this time.
No answers yet on how the blast happened at Accurate Energetic Systems, which supplies and researches explosives for the military.
Can I say we're going to rule out foul play? We can't answer that. That might be days or weeks or months before we can do that.
ATF Special Agent Guy McCormick says they're assisting in the investigation.
All of our bomb techs, our explosive specialists, are up there very thoroughly, methodically trying to make safe the area.
He says authorities taking it slow, clearing out what's left of any explosives before special teams can go in for recovery. Meanwhile, loved ones wait outside the gate of the building for news as residents like Felicity Howell recount the explosion.
There was a huge boom and my house shook very hard. It honestly felt like a vehicle drove through our house. That's what I thought whenever it happened. But then we found out it was the explosion that was about 10 miles down the road.
In 2019, the company faced several small fines for violations of policies meant to protect workers from exposure to hazardous chemicals, radiation, and other irritants, according to OSHA. I'm Julie Walker.
Perhaps you've noticed falling prices at the pump. AAA says the average price for a gallon of regular is now sitting nationwide at $3.08, down a nickel from a week ago and a dime from a month ago. The drop comes as a barrel of oil has fallen below $60 due to the ceasefire in Gaza and a slowdown in global demand. A total of 30 states now have statewide averages below $3. In California, Washington State, Oregon, and Hawaii, you'll still be paying more than $4 a gallon for gas. A prestigious university has issued a rejection of a Trump administration proposal. Details from correspondent Ed Donahue.
The president of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology says she cannot support a proposal to adopt President Trump's priorities in exchange for funding benefits. In a letter to Education Secretary Linda McMahon, Sally Kornbluth wrote, MIT disagrees with provisions of the proposal, including some that would limit free speech and the university's independence. MIT was one of 9 schools who were presented with an agreement the White House billed as providing multiple positive benefits, including substantial and meaningful federal grants. It would require universities to make a wide range of commitments on topics from admissions and women's sports to free speech and student discipline. Kornbluth says it's inconsistent with MIT's belief scientific funding should be based on merit alone. Ed Donahue, Washington.
There are rescues underway in Alaska as the remnants of powerful Typhoon Halong is causing flooding in a number of towns. Winds that have gusted to over 100 miles per hour and torrential rain has helped fuel the flooding along the western Alaska coast. Governor Mike Dunleavy has extended the state's disaster declaration. Nearly 24 people still remain unaccounted for. The G20 financial watchdog arm, known as the Financial Stability Board, is taking a hard look at AI and how it might impact global markets, including banking productivity. Chuck Palm has details in today's Tech Report.
Last Friday, the G20's Financial Stability Board released a report that lays out plans to crank up oversight on AI as the banks dive headfirst into the technology. The promise of faster trades and smarter forecasts using AI has the FSB waving a yellow flag on downsides, like everyone's piling into the same AI model and hardware. This herd-like behavior is coupled with the Bank for International Settlements publishing a study calling for an urgent need to beef up their AI game, both in usage and monitoring of AI trades. There's little solid research and very little empirical evidence that AI is making any impact at all, but that has never stopped financial regulators. European financial markets are already laying groundwork with Digital Operation Resilience Act kicking in back in January and tackling outsourcing risks head on. For more, follow me on X @Chuck Palm.
Robert Workman has a check of Monday sports on America in the Morning.
Baseball down to its Final Four. The League Championship Series, the ALCS, began Sunday in Toronto, and the Mariners got by the Blue Jays 3-1. George Springer gave the home team the early edge with a leadoff homer, but Toronto managed only one more hit the rest of the night. Manager Dan Wilson.
Coming back tonight and getting game one is obviously a big momentum shift for us, and the job that Bryce Miller did tonight was phenomenal.
Home run champ Cal Raleigh did his thing to tie it in the sixth. Then Jorge Polanco delivered a pair of run-scoring singles. Game 2 today at Rogers Center. Then it'll be game 1 of the NLCS tonight in Milwaukee. The defending World Series champion Dodgers at the Brewers. NFL Week 6, another London game Sunday morning. The Broncos won ugly over the Jets 13-11. New York falls to 0-6, the last winless team in the league. Denver, meantime, is tied with the Chargers for the AFC West lead. LA nipped the Dolphins on Cameron Dicker's 5th field goal of the day with 5 seconds left. The Buccaneers thumped the 49ers in a matchup of division leaders. Seahawks jolted the Jaguars to go level with the Niners in the NFC West. Other division leaders, the Colts nabbed a seesaw win from the Cardinals. Steelers stomped the Browns the 22nd straight time Pittsburgh has beaten Cleveland in the Steel City in the regular season. And the Packers beat the Bengals to move into first in the NFC North after the Chiefs chewed up the Lions Sunday night. Wins for the Patriots, Panthers, Rams, and Raiders. We get a Monday night doubleheader, the Bills against the Falcons and the Bears at the Commanders. College football, Ohio State remains number 1 in both polls, but preseason number 2 pick Penn State fired Coach James Franklin after the Nittany Lions' 3rd loss in a row. And NASCAR, Denny Hamlin took the checkered flag at playoff race number 7 in Las Vegas. He locks up the first of 4 spots in the series final. That's Monday Sports.
When we return, the passing of a screen legend. And America in the Morning continues after these messages. This is America in the Morning. Many in Hollywood are mourning the loss of an Oscar-winning leading lady who teamed up on the silver screen with legends Al Pacino, Warren Beatty, and Jack Nicholson. Correspondent Jennifer King looks back on the career of Diane Keaton.
Oscar-winning star Diane Keaton has died in California at age 79. The actress was known for her vibrance, depth, and quirky humor in such films as Annie Hall.
Oh, well, la-di-da, la-di-da, la-la, yeah.
The Godfather.
My father made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
What was that? She was also in Baby Boom and Father of the Bride. She charmed for decades in part because of a long-standing collaboration with filmmaker Nancy Meyers. In a 1997 interview, Keaton said she had no idea that the dark comedy The First Wives Club would be such a big success.
I believed in Annie Hall. I mean, when I read that script, I just thought, oh, wow, this is so good. This is great. So I knew it, you know. Not that I knew it was going to do as well as it did, but I knew it was good. And with First Wives Club, I didn't have a clue.
Keaton dropped out of college to make a go of acting in Manhattan. She started on Broadway and made her film debut in the 1970 romantic comedy Lovers and Other Strangers. She was romantically linked to Woody Allen, Al Pacino, and Warren Beatty. Keaton never married but did adopt 2 children when she was in her 50s. I'm Jennifer King.
Several films with big names struggled to stay afloat at the box office this weekend. Entertainment reporter Kevin Carr has details.
Tron Ares ruled the box office this weekend, but it was a bittersweet victory.
Malfunctioning program who wants to live. Why is that?
The third Tron brought in $34 million, which was enough to win the weekend.
Because there's no going back.
However, considering the $180 million price tag on this neon-trimmed installment of the 43-year-old franchise, it's a hollow number.
I was never very good at life.
So, John, I understand you work for the government.
So it's a little classified.
In a distant second was the Channing Tatum comedy Roofman with $8 million. This also didn't light up the box office, but it will fare better in the end with its modest under $20 million budget.
You know what freedom is? No fear. Just like Tom Cruise.
Third place belonged to P.T. Anderson's One Battle After Another with $6.7 million on its way to being the big little award film that could as it heads into Oscar season.
Viva la revolution!
It's time to get tiny. Let's get the dollhouse back.
Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, maintained fourth place with $3.4 million, being one of the few kids' movies out right now.
When I first came to see you, they said you had no chance. But here you are.
And rounding out the top 5 was Soul on Fire with $3 million.
Nobody sings in real life. Well, maybe they should.
Another award hopeful, Jennifer Lopez in Kiss of the Spider-Woman, was squished as it landed in 13th place with less than $1 million. I'm Kevin Carr.
America in the Morning for Monday, October 13th, 2025, Columbus Day, is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.